there's text on one page, and and art on the next page. And that's how it is throughout the whole thing. And some famous artists actually used to work on Big Little books. And, well, anyway, that's what I wanted. This is a horrible condition one. Most of them are in bad condition, but not this bad. And he also found a bunch of comic books that he still had from when he tried to sell all that he had to a comic shop. So I thought, okay, well, I'll get them and I'll save them. Boy, was I wrong. I thought I was going to save them. Turns out I'm going to be able to bury the dead ones. That's all I can do, really. What you see before you is a bunch of Ziploc bags and little boards. That's how half of the collection was stored. He would take a bag, throw it in here with a little cardboard board, and he would also stick a price on it. And once you see some of these books I'm going to show you, you'll know that that is ridiculous. And of course, if you look at the board, I don't know if you can tell here on the screen very well, but oh yeah, you can. See how that's shining? That's the acid-free coating side. This side that isn't shining has no acid-free coating. In other words, this is the side you want not touching your books. And as you saw me when I pulled it out, it was in this way. So he had the wrong side touching the books. He had them just stacked up. And not only that, a lot of them were in a binder. And I don't mean in a binder as in the 3-hole punch them. No. I mean a binder as in like this. It's a 3-hole punch to go in a binder. Kind of like a, well, I don't know what you call them. But anyway, the whole comic would fit in there like this bag is. And he'd flip through them to show me and be like, yeah, this is what I got. Anyway, and it was just a mess. I had to bite my tongue when he was telling me how good the stuff he had was and how I was getting a really, really sweet deal. And I overpaid, actually. But like I said, all I wanted was the Big Little books, really, and I thought I would save the collection. Turns out I wasn't actually able to save much of the collection at all. But I did get the Big Little books. I paid $100. Got 10 Big Little books. A bunch of kindling. And a few comics. And I'll go ahead and show some of these books here. And you will feel sad and cry along with me, perhaps. Marge's Little Lulu. Got a funny cover here. Published 1953. Oh, look at that corner. I'm amazed the cover's still there, really. But you can see how that spine is horrible. In the back, soiled, has a crease in it. I don't know if you can tell. Chip out. The interior, it seems relatively okay. The book's together, but I'm not going to get anything out of it. So that's book 1 down. Don't worry though, they get worse. Of course, War Action, number 6. From Atlas. Man. Look at those huge bites out of that. Now, Atlas was what Marvel was before they were Marvel. So that means this book is definitely from the 50s. Let's see. 1952. And as you can see here, the cover is off. Just a little bit. Just a little. And the interior, very soiled. Man. Yeah, this is sadly going to have to be trash. Now, most of these would be a 0.5 or lower. And I didn't know you could have lower, but apparently you can. I don't know if you know this, but apparently there was a book called Super Duck by Archie. And this is it. And I can feel on my index finger the back cover, which is there. That's horrible. Then, of course, we got Hot Rod and Speedway Comics from Hillman. This is 1952-53. 10-cent book. Date stamped. Now, this one actually isn't all that bad compared to the others I just showed. But still barely hanging on. The cover, that is. You can tell by right there. Yeah, still nothing I can do with it. So it'll have to go away. Then, of course, we have Mickey Mouse Comics by Walt Disney. And it is wrecked. I don't know if you can see all the different cracks and creaks in there. That spine is horrid. Look at how much it's rolled. You can tell by the pages here. Chips, a tear through every single page. Man. It's barely even hanging on. That makes you want to shed a tear. Then, of course, we have Nancy. And there's the Secrets of the Young Brides. No, I can't. Then, of course, we have, I believe this, let's see, 1954. I believe this was a newsstand return or something else, and I'm reading too much into it. And I say that because of how it's just the top cut off, like that. Like they would do when they would send back a book to prove that they needed to get their money back for it. Then, of course, I don't know if you know this, but Patsy Walker, who is Hellcat in the Jessica Jones TV show and in the normal comics as well, started as just a character named Patsy Walker back in the day, before even Marvel was Marvel. Here's Patsy Walker, Miss America, number 55, by Atlas Comics. Right there. And she was like a model or something before everything else happened, like becoming Hellcat and whatnot. Then we have, let's see, Looney Tunes. There's Little Rascals. Another Little Lulu. Some kids' math homework on the cover. Tip Top Comics. It's barely hanging on by the covers. Believe it or not, a DC book got in here. The Karate Kid. Yeah, piece of junk. Sadly. Black Diamond, the Western. Right here. Black Diamond Western. That one don't look any kind of good at all. Then there was a Superman that got in here, number 214. Nothing real super special about this book, but it's heavily soiled on the back cover. Not much holding it together by the staples, and it's basically beat to hell. And then I don't know how this one got in there. Relatively new compared to everything else it had. Detective Comics 675. Very 90s cover there. Yeah. Then, of course, the one that broke my heart more than anything. I don't know how you feel about it, but when I see this in the bottom of a bag from my comic, I normally don't buy a comic like that because that means it's been so poorly taken care of. It's literally so brittle, it's falling apart. Literally falling apart. This book is Monty Hale Westerns, number 42. This is actually a Fawcett publication. And you may think, well, that don't look too bad there, Will. Well, hold on. Let me show you something. Look at all the chips out of these pages. I don't know how well you can see that. Let's see here if I can really show you. Okay, it is literally falling apart in my hands. Literally, I mean, this is the. You see that? That just happened when I touched it. This. Holy crap, guys! Look at this. Look at that. This. There's even bits of comic on my hand. This is so sad. Why would... Hey, look at that. It doesn't have staples. It's tape, and the tape is so old. It's falling apart. Do you see that? Barely hanging on their tape. Man. Makes you want to cry. And the sad part about it is this he had in with a board, and the board, you could tell by looking at it, was soiled from the page of the book because he had the backing board backwards. But worse than that, he had it so that the backing board was inside this back cover. So the board was inside the comic. You never want to do that because that hurts and destroys the spine, especially on these older books. Plus, like I said, he had a one-sided acid-free board like most of us buy at the local comic shop. And there's comic pieces on my shirt. And, one side's okay to touch your comic. It's acid-free coating. The other side, chock full of the stuff. You don't want it anywhere near your comic. He had that side facing the interior pages. Oh! And I'm not done. I have something else to show you with all this mess here. The Worst Offender. A book in horrible condition. It's almost as bad as that Monty Hale. But had he actually taken care of those books, this one would actually be worth the money. I give you an EC comic. Two-Fisted Tales. And I'll show you, just in case you're not believing me. I will now open the book. And by open the book, I'm going to take the cover right off. Because it was literally just setting on the book. But yeah, that's how bad. Man. But wait, there's more. Yes, my friends, there is more. Just to show you how bad this guy was on how he took care of his books, is that he didn't even know what he had. In other words, he also had two classics illustrated, excuse me. And the interesting thing is that when he flipped, and yes, I mean flipped, because these were in the binder to these books, we got to Journey to the Center of the Earth, number 138, 15-cent piece. He goes and starts pointing at it. Yeah, this is the first one. This is the first one. That one's worth a lot of money. You're getting a great deal. This one's the first one. What he was doing was what a lot of people tend to do when they see a classic illustrated comic. They just look at that price and think, oh, 15 cents. I know we're about to date that. And then they're like, I have the first one. No, you don't. What you have to do is look at the HRN. What the HRN is the highest reorder number. In other words, you look at the back. Whoa. You look at the back, and you have all these different books that you can order. For example, you have, let's see, if I can get this to focus. Well, she's not going to focus for us today. Anyway, the first one there is the Three Musketeers, and it's a number 1. Oh, there it goes. So, that's what the reorder number is how far down in the number system does this back cover go, and that's how you know how old or what print your book is. Now, the one that has the horrible back that he said, it's the first one, is Journey to the Center of the Earth, number 138. And I can tell because I can make out the word conquest right there. And it has a 6 at the end of the number. So I just look at conquest on this one, and I can see where it says Conquest of Mexico, number 156. I am sorry that's not focusing. So all I do is look in the handy dandy Overstreet comic book price guide. I go to number 138, A Journey to the Center of the Earth, and I find out what edition has an HRN of 156, which tells me 3rd. So this is the 3rd printing of this comic. This one, The War of the Worlds, number 124. He also said the same thing. It's the first one. But you look at it, go to War of the Worlds, and if you remember, it had the same 156 Conquest of Mexico on it as the highest reorder number. So we just look up here, 156. This is the 5th printing of this comic. So, as you can see, nothing really at all as far as value. I mean, even in 9